Hello, rock and roll daycare community. It is your curriculum director, Barb, and it is Tuesday, which means only one thing. It is our Tuesday Training Tools Day. I hope everyone is having a great start to your week, and I'm so excited to jump back into our theme this month, which is respect for the child. And what does this look like? How can we practice it? And how can we be implementing these objectives in our learning environments? So let's get started. We are already on the third week of May, which is so crazy to me. All right, let's get this. We don't need that. Perfect. So let's see, Tuesday Training Tools, May 2021. So respect for the child. This week, we're actually going to focus on how to respond to hitting, pushing, and kicking. I get this question a lot. It's hard because it's really emotional when children are, deciding to engage in a behavior that's physical and that can hurt other children. It becomes very stressful very quickly. But there's actually a few tips that I want to talk about in this video of how we can be helping to guide the child in a respectful way. And that means providing boundaries and making, things really clear for them. Sometimes we only respond to the behavior and not the emotion. And when we do that, we're really not equipping children in the most productive way in terms of teaching them and giving them the tools of how to handle and manage this really big feeling or emotion that they're having. Okay. So, and I didn't include biting with this because there is another Tuesday Training Tools that we talk all about biting. So if you are in a situation where maybe you watched that Tuesday Training Tool, or maybe you're new and you didn't, and now you have a child who is biting in your classroom, that is always archived and there as a resource. So please feel free to look that up or send me an email and I can send it to you directly, because in that one we really break, talk about how you break down a behavior to kind of figure out what's the motive, why are they doing it, and then that gives you some more information, again, how to guide it effectively. And I thought this could really tie into our theme this month as well for respecting the child, because this is showing them respect and, like I said, giving them the necessary boundaries that all children need. And that's really important. Okay. So I want to first start by saying take a breath, as I was just doing and couldn't get the words out. Going back, actually, this is kind of a fun week because I'm actually tying in a lot of other themes, which I usually do on the videos because you get to see how everything is so connected. But this goes back to our monthly theme and when we took time to study the prepared adult, us. We have to really make sure we're checking ourselves before we can engage in this type of behavior, because it's so easy that this, the pushing, the shoving, the kicking, these physical behaviors really cause us to become reactive really quickly. And again, this makes sense, right? It's stressful. A child could get hurt, and how are you going to report that to the parent? Or they push you, and that doesn't feel good, and that makes you upset. No one wants to see a child engage in this behavior. So we automatically just kind of become reactive. And maybe we'll say no hitting, or hands are not for hitting, or no thank you, right? That's really talking to the behavior. Okay. But really what we want to try to do, not that we want to be sitting back and taking a breath and not intervening and letting the child continue to hit. What I mean here is just like really make sure you're in the mindset that you can intervene with intention. And sometimes just taking that quick breath can really help. Evaluate the situation. What is the priority? Do I have to get the child away from the other children so that they don't continue to hurt? Do I have to call it, signal for my co-teacher to come over so they can check on the child who got, that got pushed? Is it a situation where I can calmly just intervene between the two of them because there's only two children around? Again, this is really going to look different. So there's never like one answer of like what you do when a child pushes. But the first step is to take a breath and look at the situation so you can intervene with intention. Because we as adults and the caretakers have to regulate. And remember, this is not an attack on us. This is nothing personal. This is just a child reacting to a feeling. Okay. So really, I think that's really hard to remember sometimes in the moment of that behavior, because again, you can become reactive, but it is a child reacting to a feeling. So with that being said, first, we want to make sure that we are setting that safety boundary. So we're going to firmly say, I will not let you hurt my body. That is a clear statement that you're going to make to the children. Or if it's a younger toddler, or it's going, you're going to just really make that eye contact with the child and let them know, not okay. All right. And then you want to move, again, depending on the instance, because there's no, it's really hard to just generally comment on it when you don't know the whole circumstance, but it may be that you want to move their body away or gently hold their hands to keep yourself safe or the children around them safe. Sometimes the children, need that extra support at that time. But remember, we're thinking about this in the month of respect for the child. We're doing this respectfully. And that's why we're stating before, I will not let you hurt my body. And then if they are too dysregulated or their body is really out of control and it's creating an unsafe environment or unsafe situation, and that makes you worried for the safety of the other children in the area, you can tell the child, we're going to be moving to a different space, a safe space. And you would showing them the respect by saying it first instead of just swooping them up and saying no thank you or whatever it is, to say, I am moving your body to a safe place and you can be angry or you can let out your emotions over here. And then you kind of just let that be. Okay. So you want to set that safety boundary. Again, we want to be responding to the emotion, not the behavior. So when you have the opportunity, you can really try to I see some of you use this term in your responses, sportscast. Oh, you really wanted that toy from your friend. And I understand it's hard to wait. Okay. But think about it. In order to respond to that emotion, you have to understand what's going on. How do we understand what's going on? By observing. Another theme that we have studied together in one of our other Tuesday training tool months. We have to figure out what is the underlying issue. What happened? What caused this emotion? What caused this emotion to occur? Why are they pushing? A million reasons, right? It could be that they're tired. If it's a younger toddler, it could be that they're tired and that they don't know how to say, that they need help or that how to stay regulated, so they just hit. For our older children, it could be something over a toy or something they're angry about, and they have they have that lack of impulse control. So the first thing they do is the pushing or the hitting, because that's a lot quicker. Doing that behavior is a lot quicker than trying to find the words at that moment. But the key is here that you want to really find out what is causing it, so you can respond to that and you can speak to that with the child. And there's, we've talked in other Tuesday training tools, how we can really try to break that down. That's all about breaking down the behavior to figure out the function of it and why it's occurring. So then we can work directly with that emotion, that need, that whatever they are trying to communicate, to help support them and get to the bottom of it. And then this is, when we really want to be remembering that we don't always want to be intervening on the behavior when it's happening. At that moment, we're taking in information, we're taking in what's going on in the situation, and then it's like you're coming up with a plan. And you want to be offering some coping to the child, because again, this is really going to be showing them that respect. And you can say to them, when your body and voice are calm, we can solve this problem together, or I'm happy to help when you are calm. And then you want to wait until they're calm, and then that's when you talk about next steps or intervention. This piece is so important. Sometimes when the child's calm, we almost think, okay, the behavior's over and that's that. But really, that's our moment. That's the teachable moment right there to say, okay, now we're going to follow up on it. They're not going to be processing or understanding anything when their emotions are really high. And they are probably really high if they just pushed or shoved or kicked. They're probably in a really intense emotional state because they're upset about something. Think about when you're really upset about something. You probably aren't in the mindset to be hearing a ton of feedback from a friend. You have to kind of wait till you cool off, sleep it off, whatever it is, and then you're able to, okay, I can talk about this rationally, but that's really hard to do when your emotions are super high. But we want to make sure that we come back to this and offer that coping and make sure that we are coming up with steps or any intervention plans, okay? Because we want to be teaching other ways of how to express this later. So please remember to revisit the behavior after the child is calm. And, just a general reminder too, It's not that they wanted to hurt that other child. They just don't know what to do with such a big emotion. And that comes off as, it can look intentional. It can look like, no, they were just being mean, or they want to go out for a friend. But really try to see it from this angle, and I can almost guarantee that you'll be able to shift your perspective and be more supportive to them. And so when you go back, when the child is calm and you see they're ready to have a conversation about it, and again, this is going to be with our older friends, but I think it's still, important for all teachers to know, because at some level you can kind of tweak it for the younger children. Simpler language, you can use visuals, whatever that looks like, but something along the lines of, I know you did not want to hurt your friend earlier. And sometimes I get so frustrated too that I want to hit. I know I do. But what helps me is if I can move my body, or if I can just make some space. So what can we do to help your body calm when you feel like you want to hit? And let's see where that conversation goes. But try to be working this in, because we want to be proactive at all times. We don't want to be trying to be teaching the right or the wrong while the behavior is happening. That's really unfair to the child. But we want to circle back with them. We want to give them the language. We want to give them the learning opportunities. And maybe, again, with our younger children, maybe that's going over, if you have the pictures of the classroom rules as a work on your shelf, with the pictures of gentle hands and walking feet, and what any other classroom rules, you can just take a time to give that lesson. Or circle time is a great opportunity to speak to the group about something that you want to be practicing. And again, this could be based on your observations, but we want to be doing it when the behavior is actually not happening, so we can be proactive in just constantly giving them these tools. And with that being said, always remember that children need a lot of repetition. So never assume, well, I gave them that lesson and it didn't work. This strategy obviously doesn't work. They need repetition. Children have very little impulse control. So when they are in that heightened emotion, 9 times out of 10, it's going to come out as a physical behavior, just because they're developmentally just aren't there yet. It's our job to help guide this. But we can, and then always, catch them being good, right? You see that child got really mad, but he or she refrained from hitting their friend. You want to comment on that, calmly go over, and not a lot of praise, but say, I saw you were really mad and I saw that you walked away. And, say that for them so they understand, like, wow, I acknowledge that. And that's really, that's really great. Okay. So just other ways to be teaching this at a later time, in creative ways, to always just being reinforcing it instead of when the behavior is happening. And so that is that for what I want to share with that behavior in particular. And again, this really does tie into respecting the child, because when we are approaching it like this, when we are being proactive, when we are taking the time to observe, to say, what is this child communicating to me? What is their need? How can I help guide and make this, something positive for them at a time that is appropriate? So if you have any questions at all, let me know. Please share conversations with your co-teachers and teams. Maybe you don't have a child who's hitting or pushing right now, but it may be in a couple minutes you will. So you can always refer back to this video or have a continued conversation with your team, and share those observations and get to the bottom of why is it happening, and start there. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and I will see you here next week as we continue our monthly theme of respect for the child. Thanks, everyone.